Okay, a very bright morning. Evidence here that I haven't long got up. It's 5 past, just gone 9 a.m. I was up and about before that, but just chilling, just looking at the computer and looking at YouTube here and there. So whatever time it is for you, I hope it's a good day, night, whatever. Here is a very sunny, bright morning. I look like I'm glowing here. It's just, uh, but shouldn't complain because it is getting into winter, and I'll take the rough with the smooth. And here it's smooth at the moment. For a few days it was raining quite a bit, and now it looks like we've got good weather. It's cold. I think there's another person that lives here. I think they put the heating on. Let me let me see. Yeah, the radiator's warm. So I wonder how cold it is outside. Regardless, let's talk about something where on YouTube there's a lot of deep fakes. There's deep fakes that are really annoying the hell out of some experts. Experts like Neil deGrasse Tyson, Brian Cox, because they've been put out there in these deep fakes and edited things and AIs and so on that make it look like they're talking about Free Eye Atlas as a which is a thing that has come through our solar system. It is a thing that is coming through our solar system, but it's not what these people are saying. There's even a deep fake out there of Neil deGrasse Tyson claiming the Earth is flat. Now, anyone with an IQ above dirt, you're gonna think, Neil deGrasse Tyson, what's wrong with you? I thought you were an advocate of science and physics, and then you might think, hang on a minute, has this been edited to make him look like he's saying this, and so on, right? Um, it's clearly you only have to do the most simplest experiments that anybody can do to discern, oh, yeah, Earth ain't flat, and why would it be when it's so absurd. It doesn't need, it shouldn't be given attention. I think it's kind of dumb at this point for YouTubers out there trying to do debunk flat earthers a little bit because uh, it it's not flat anyway. But it's like beating a dead horse. Talking, trying to convince somebody who's that convinced the Earth's for whatever reason the Earth's not a globe. Um, it's bizarre, you know. On the other hand, though, it could be worth it because it points out how stupid they are, and other people learn different things along the way. Those people, like myself, and hopefully the viewer, that they already know that Earth isn't flat, and flat is kind of relative, right? Um, but they know that, but they will learn other things along the way, like the Coriolis effect. Learn something about that, maybe. Um, how our moon affects our tides and why we have tides as a gravitational pull as the moon spin goes around us and all these things. Yeah, about the gravitational pull against Schumacher comet that actually came through our solar system, I think in 1993. Let me check that. Let me see. Jupiter collision. Oh, there's something. 1994, July 1994, comet Schumacher-Levy 9 collided with Jupiter, making the first observed collision between two solar system bodies. Yeah, I can remember that happening, and it was fascinating. It was all over the news and the science channels and so on. about the comet split up in several pieces. It might say here how many pieces. It was bits of it were hitting Jupiter at 130,000 miles per hour, creating massive fireballs and dark storm scars visible from Earth. Fireballs, of course, it is gas. A lot of gases were probably kind of ignited out there. And again, it's a thing with flat earthers think that our sun is doing fire. Uh, no, it's just very hot plasma. It's not like not like fire, how we think of it. It's like a flame or you strike a match. It's not the same, right? There's no oxygen out there in space to feed the flame, for instance. Um, Certainly, go and look at my video about how long it takes for light to escape our sun to by the time we see it. You'd be surprised just how long that is. Is older than society itself. Uh, yeah, that sounds absurd to some. You might say, no, it isn't. It's just 8 minutes late. Go and have a look at the video. Uh, and sure, the sun in the sky at the moment is where it is. What we're seeing right now is where it was 8 minutes ago because of the time it takes for the light to get to us. There's that, but there's a whole other aspect to that that's going on, which equals the sun being light being much older than that. Um, so all these deep fakes out there, absolutely ridiculous. Neil deGrasse Tyson saying the Earth's flat, and uh, Brian Cox talking about Free Eye Atlas like it's some problem, or and there's other deepfakes of other important people claiming so many things that it's changed course, it's done this, it's done that, and people want to be entertained by something very novel as it's not just another comet. At the same time, though, really understanding this, there's far more interesting things going on. Again, the potential for this to hit another planet and us observing it, hopefully not Earth, and it's not on this loop around anyway, but the science and the scientific discoveries, the physics are important to discern even a mitigation of something perhaps hitting hitting Earth. Maybe something could land on something and cause an explosion to change its course of direction. Whatever. Technologically, it's possible, but human species are too busy being very primitive and tribal, and we like to think of ourselves as so far removed from our earliest origins. But we're still like a bunch of primates and fighting over a bunch of bananas. It really is ridiculous how primitive we are sometimes, and how easy it is to control us via those primitive string pullings of criminal minds and immoral people within power. And that's why America has imploded. And it's why also it was inevitable. I said many years ago, decades ago, America's going to fail in a very, very serious, detrimental way. Because everything it was doing was superficial, shallow, and never mind any depth. But it was good to make a business. It was the land of opportunity because of the high level of capitalism. And it became very polarized. Rich people were getting richer and poor people were getting poorer. That's happening across the board, does across Europe as well. Greed is a problem that drives some of that. But also scientific community and discoveries and inventions are doing really well in America. Now, you try and fund that now where everything from farming and everything else is suffering. If the farming industry suffers, then you have to import everything. But how are you going to import everything when the tariff, however you pronounce it, are too high? And because, people aren't gonna, it's so ridiculous because nobody wants to trade in the first place. Because imports, we give you this, so we have something else back. Um, there's whole containers of corn in America, and we get to Free Eye Atlas in a minute. That nobody wants it. It's just staying there, and the farmers aren't going to get paid for all the farmed corn that they farmed. Why did nobody want it? Well, because it's too, America's because Trump think, oh, I love that word tariff, and it's so bizarre how he's even now, after all the damage he's done, convinced that raising the cost of all this is a good thing. It's just really, really bizarre, and the whole country, because of that and so many other things, the rhetoric, it's just he was the straw that broke the camel's back. If it wasn't going to be him, it would have been somebody else anyway, by the way, because Trump is a product of all of America's ills. So, also, who encouraged him and wanted to be him to be put in the place in the first place? I'm not talking about voters necessarily. I'm talking about those other politicians, those other people that are in cahoots with him. I'd be more worried about those people actually as well. Before we get into Free Eye Atlas, I'll briefly say Russia. Well, Russia's very much on the verge of a revolution because they're rebelling against Putin. America, as per usual, is a little bit slow. A little bit, nah, way too slow. You talk too much and you don't do enough. And people's lives suffer because of it. And I think that's come from a learned helplessness, which is encouraged by a lack of good education of what the hell's actually going on. You don't know, you just don't know how to attack this. And it is inevitable that you have got to have a revolution. It's, you got no choice. I was slated for saying so early on. Uh, but yeah, there you know. Anyway, Comet 3I Atlas, third known object from outside the solar system to be observed passing through our celestial neighborhood. Again, I'll put the link below, science.nasa.gov. Astronomers have categorized this object as interstellar because of the hyperbolic shape of its orbital path. In brackets, it does not follow a closed orbital path about the sun. That's in brackets. When the orbit of 3I Atlas is traced into the past, the comet clearly originates from outside our solar system. 3I Atlas poses no threat to Earth and will remain far away. The closest it will approach our planet is about 1.8 astronomical units. What that means is about 170 million miles to or 270 million kilometers. So that's vast. It's gigantic. It's nowhere near us. 3I Atlas will reach its closest point around the Sun around October the 30th, 2025, at a distance of about 1.4 AU, astronomical units, 130 million miles or 210 kilometers, just inside the orbit of Mars. Well, it's gone past that now because the 30th is gone. It's the 2nd of November. Yesterday was my birthday, by the way, and yeah, I've seen previously. You might have seen that video yesterday. I talked about a card, a lovely card with money in it, off of my mother, and money off my brother. My brother gave me what be a UK pound for every trip around the sun every year. So, you know, I already had a bit of cash on me anyway, so there's given actual physical cash money. So, yeah, that's really handy to have because there's some things I might be stashing away for both a bit more for this room and saving a bit to my regular trip each year to southwest England, otherwise known as North Devon. Yeah, the north of the southwest. Sounds complicated because, well, the UK is a funny shape anyway. Let's read on a bit more. Uh, where was I? Distance from the sun, astronomical units, 130 million miles or 210 million kilometers, just inside the orbit of Mars. Ah, okay. That's cool. I wonder if we can see it. If we got a telescope or anything, can we see it out there? Just traveling out. What's it look like? The interstellar comet's size and physical properties are being investigated by astronomers around the world. 3i Atlas should remain visible to ground-based telescopes through September 2025, after which it will pass to close too close to the sun to observe. But again, yeah, it would have been on the way out from there now. It will appear on the other side of the sun early December 2025, allowing renewed observations. Right, okay. So next month, you might be able to see it. I don't have a telescope, but anybody who does, put a comment below if you're an advocate of observing this, if you're doing anything about the observations. Yeah, it'd be cool to see what you think about it. So, Discovery, the NASA funded Atlas Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, it's a mouthful, survey telescope in Rio Hurtado, Chile. And don't get too paranoid and conspiracy theorist on me here if you're hearing that. It's the Atlas program. They know it's going to hit us. No, it's the Atlas program that observes things out there so that then they can discern whether something is a threat later on, if it will come near Earth or hit us or whatever. Right? Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Alert System. And it's also alerting us for impacts of other bodies, not just Earth. And it can, like they knew the comet that hit Jupiter, they knew they kind of predicted that it was going to probably split up and bits of it going to hit Jupiter, right? And it did. It was a great prediction. Is the wonders of our technology and measurements and measuring systems predict any event ahead of time is great, right? On July the 1st, 2025, since the first report observations made before the discovery were gathered from the archives of 3 different Atlas telescopes around the world, and Caltech's Caltech's Zwicky transient facility at the Palomar Observatory in San Diego County, California. These pre-discovery observations extend back to June the 14th, 2025. Wow. Interesting. So these observations are going in on when, wow, I was beginning to attack this room, really, after coming back from North Devon in southwest England. Because I went on the, when did I go? I took the trip down on the 2nd I spent a week there, come back, and then about a week or so here, and then this room. We've swapped rooms with the other person that lives here, and yeah, it was quite a project to do. There's still little bits to do here, which is I'm really pleased that we did this, and it was a requirement. Really, they're better off in the smaller room. I'm better off in the larger room. Anyway, reading on, how this comet got its name. Comets are generally named for their discoveries. In this case, the Atlas System team, the letter I, is for interstellar, indicating that the object came from outside our solar system. It's the third known interstellar object, hence the free in the name. It was Atlas System that discovered it, so that makes sense. Free I Atlas. So the third one, that is interstellar, and it was Atlas that discovered it. NASA's assets observing Comet 3I Atlas. NASA's Hubble Space Telescope captured this image of interstellar comet. You'll see the images in a link. If you click the link below, I do want to put up better template and different scenes and things with some videos soon. At the moment, you just got the camera. We're going to get that sorted soon because I had a fresh install and thought I had backups on a drive. They kind of overwrit some of that as well. Regardless, anyway. NASA Space Telescope, Hubble Space Telescope, captured this image of interstellar comet 3I Atlas on July 21st, 2025. When the comet was 277 million miles from Earth. Hubble revealed a teardrop-shaped cocoon of dust coming off the comet's solid, icy nucleus. Because Hubble was tracking the comet moving along a hyperbolic trajectory, the stationary background stars are streaked in exposure. Yeah, because it's moving. Yeah, that makes sense. Hubble continuing to observations allow astronomers to more accurately estimate the size of the comet's nucleus. Observations as of 20th August 2025 indicate the upper limit on its diameter is 3.5 miles or 5.6 kilometers. Thought it could be as small as 1,444 feet or 440 meters. It's not really that big. Not at all. But in the grand scheme of things, it's like all the scale of things out there is really tiny. NASA assets that are planning. I mean, I think what Schumacher would probably be a lot bigger than that. Halley's Comet bigger. And as comets come through, they get a little bit smaller and smaller each time, each turn around, because bits get pulled off it. A comet's tail is going towards the sun. It's not what it's trailing behind, because that's the gravitational pull of the sun, and it slingshotted around and back out. Right. Anyway, NASA assets that are planning to gather observations of 3I Atlas include Hubble Webb, Hubble Space Telescope, Webb, TESS, Swift, Sphere X, Sphere X. I'm not sure. I forget what that is. Regardless, anyway, I think I know what that was. Preservation, Mars rover. Yeah, cool. Mars reconnaissance. All the stuff they got out there is like, they got to switch all that on to observe this to get better data about, well, I guess the composition of things that come through the solar system, as well as, yeah, other things, a prediction of other trajectories, where it might go, where it collide with another planet in our system on some, maybe on the next time it comes around, making calculations and so on. I think it's important, um, because all this comings and goings, things that have been put out there, is if we can better understand that, we can the movements of the stuff out there. You can better understand the trajectory of things you can put out there, because certain bodies, like planets, have been used to accelerate things, because the gravitation of other planets use a slingshot to go around an orbit to go at other planets. And there's a lot of complex math and science behind that, and it's with the satellites and the probes and things we put out. But then, all this is being done in America, this by NASA, and yeah, I don't know what I don't want to go off on tangent, but America, a broken country in every single way. The funding for these science projects is going to come else from elsewhere. It's not going to come from uh, whoever funded, like taxpayers or government or whatever, because you're beyond broken. This is not going to end here. Is only going to get worse, and it's going to take decades further down the line to be anything remotely like what the rest of the world would actually call a country, not some imaginary, fictional, let's make believe you're a country, because that's what America's been doing for too long. Is not really functioning properly as a country should be thought of as a country to function as a country. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Check back here for observations, schedules, or any additional NASA assets that information on becomes available. And they're public and open about this, and they've said on the return of this going out there, it's now going to be observable by next month again via telescopes. My brother had a telescope many years ago. We was living somewhere else, and I remember as a little boy, I was still at school and looking through it with him. I was looking at the moon, and it was just strong enough to give you some fantastic detail about the moon. It was better looking at the moon when it wasn't completely full, though, because there's so much glare you couldn't see. When it's half, you could see. You zoom in, and you see all these craters and dips and things. And it was fascinating to watch. And he also had a map of which part was called which, what was named what. And the Sea of Tranquility Base, Eagle has landed. That's where they landed. And yeah, it was just so interesting to look at that. And we think it was Saturn or Jupiter, probably Saturn. We found in the night sky, and you could just about see the rings around. Yeah, pretty cool. Couldn't make out too much about Saturn, but yeah, it was. Yeah, you can tell there's this blurry ball with rings around it. But I think that's fascinating enough itself, because unaided, you look at the sky. Oh, it's a star. Then you discover that star's not a star; it's a planet. It's bright because it's very reflective, reflecting the sun's light, and you think about the time it takes for that sun to get sunlight to bounce back off there to hit Earth as well. Yeah. Hmm. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.